The movie opens in October 1988. William Denborough, also called Bill, is just 12 years old, and he tries his best to construct a paper boat for his little brother Georgie. They name it the SS Georgie. Bill is too sick to accompany Georgie, who wants to go outside to sail it in the pouring rain. Georgie leaves to play as the brothers embrace. Georgie navigates his boat down the road. When he pursues it, he unintentionally collides with a barricade. Before falling into the sewer, the boat travels to the end of the street. Fearing that Bill may become irate, Georgie rushes to attempt to grab it. A pair of yellow eyes appear as he peers into the sewer. They are members of a group that goes by the name Pennywise, the dancing clown. Prior to returning his boat to Georgie, Pennywise chats to him in a humorous manner. Georgie goes for it, but Pennywise grabs his arm and bites into it with his enormous fangs. Before taking Georgie into the sewers, the creature rips off his arm and leaves him wailing for Bill. After 8 months, it is June 1989. Mike Hanlon is introduced to us when his grandfather Leroy forces him to use a nail gun to slaughter a sheep. Leroy instructs the kids before doing the action himself. It is the last day of classes. The Losers Club, which consists of Bill and his friends Richie Tozier, Eddie Kasprack, and Stanley Uris, are leaving to begin their vacation. Sadly, they come across Henry Bowers, the school's psychotic bully, and his minions Patrick Extetter, Victor Chris, and Belch Huggan. After Henry makes fun of Bill's friends, Bill tells Henry he stinks. Henry then makes a threat toward Bill, until he notices his father, Officer Bowers, standing behind Bill. He licks his palm and smears it on Bill's face, before walking away. In the restroom, Beverly Marsh, a girl, is smoking. Bev is the target of taunts from a bunch of bullies, led by Greta, who also calls her a slut. Bev is doused with water from a garbage bag by one girl, but she shields her head with her book. Beverly runs into the new child, Ben Hascom, as she exits the building. He lacks friends and is taunted because of his weight. Ben looks to start to like Bev, as she autographs his yearbook. As Bill arrives home, his father Zach chastises him for building a replica of Derry's sewage system out of tubes, because he still thinks Georgie is only missing. Zach advises him to accept Georgie's passing. To deliver something, Mike stops by the butcher shop. He can hear what appears to be yelling and hammering, coming from behind the door that leads to the alley. When the door opens, numerous burned hands protrude from it. Mike then encounters Pennywise, but a vehicle driven by the Bowers gang almost runs him over. Mike runs off. Ben is researching Derry's past in the library. He discovers through a number of papers that children in Derry have been going missing under enigmatic circumstances for generations. The picture of Pennywise and the head of a lost child in a tree may be found in the book. The headless youngster is subsequently enticed into the basement, where Ben sees him before being frightened out by Pennywise. Ben is ambushed by the Bowers gang on his way home. He is restrained against the bridge railing by Henry's thugs. Henry wants to engrave his name into Ben's stomach, while Patrick wants to burn him with a lighter and bug spray. An elderly couple passing by notices this, but says nothing. With a red balloon in the scene, it is obviously present. Ben kicks Henry in the nuts, rolls him over the bridge, and into the woods. The thugs pursue Ben. The losers are currently close to the sewers, since Bill persuaded his friends to assist him in finding Georgie. The lads catch Ben when he falls into the water close to them, and rescue him. Patrick leaves his group and heads into the sewers, in an effort to find Ben. He comes across youngsters that have a demonic appearance, which causes him to flee, but he hits a wall. Before him, several red balloons suddenly emerge and burst, revealing Pennywise, who immediately devours Patrick. The guys visit the store to get bandages and cotton balls, but they are strapped for cash. When Beverly runs into the lads, she is there purchasing tampons. Bev pretends to flirt with the pharmacist, Mr. Keene, to divert him after learning about their issue. She finds him to be a creep, but she is able to divert his attention long enough for the lads to steal their supplies, and for her to smokes out of the house. As Bev notices the lads attending to Ben, she leaves the house and joins them. Beverly visits her father at home, who is a far creepier person than Mr. Keene. His kid runs into the bathroom, weeping, after he approaches her. She continues to shorten her hair till it is no longer long. Ben has now joined the lads, and they are all waiting at the quarry to jump into the lake, but nobody wants to go first. When Bev appears and leaps first, the others follow. They enjoy themselves while hanging out and swimming. Ben later shares with everyone what he learned about Derry's past. Eddie sees the vacant home on Neibolt Street on his way home. Eddie is abruptly attacked by a leper, which prompts Eddie to flee via the yard of the home. He notices Pennywise enticing him as he approaches the barrier. Eddie scurries below the fence to get away. A postcard with a poem on it, that was written by a hidden admirer, is in Bev's room. She believes Bill wrote it, but Ben actually did. Bev is able to hear children's voices coming from her restroom. Before a bloody fountain floods the bathroom, hair clumps start reaching out to grasp her as she stares into the sink where the voices are coming from. Bev is terrified as Mr. Marsh enters, but he is unable to see the blood. He just says that because of her hair, she has a boyish appearance. As Bill spots what appears to be Georgie racing about the home, he starts to check around. He is shocked and follows Georgie to the flooded basement. Georgie emerges and requests Bill's company, adding everyone down here floats. You will also float. He keeps saying you'll float too, until he screams and begins to rot. As Pennywise finally emerges from the water, he tries to capture Bill, but the latter escapes from the cellar. The kids notice Mike's bike and the Bowers gang's automobile the following day while they are riding their bicycles. They catch the thugs tormenting Mike for being black as they walk down by the stream. A rock-throwing conflict breaks out between the two groups after Bev throws a rock at Henry's head. Henry is knocked out cold, and Mike rushes over to the loser's side as Vic and Belch flee. Bill describes what he witnessed in his home as the kids leave with Mike. Eddie supports him in saying that he saw Pennywise. Mike describes what he witnessed and how his parents perished while attempting to break down the door to his room in his old house, their skin having burned to the bone. Richie acknowledges that he is scared of clowns, despite being the only one who hasn't been tormented. The kids visit Bill's garage, where they use a projector to examine a map of Derry. They observe a connection between the sewers and the Neibolt residence, where it resides. The projector suddenly begins operating automatically, displaying images of Bill and Georgie with their parents, while also displaying Pennywise's visage over their mother. When Pennywise fully emerges from the screen and begins to pursue the children, they knock the projector over, but it continues to play. Before he can hurt them, they are able to escape the garage. The losers visit the Neibolt residence to confront it directly, while the rest remain on the outside to serve as watchmen. Bill, Richie, and Eddie go inside. Richie panics when he discovers a poster of himself gone, but Bill reassures him that it's not real. The moment Pennywise discovers Eddie, he is removed from his buddies. He breaks his arm as he tumbles through the floor and lands in the kitchen. He is approached by Bill and Richie through 3 doorways. They find a headless girl as they enter the first door. Richie is caught behind the second door by a room filled with clown dolls. He notices a casket holding a lifelike replica of himself. Pennywise leaps out as soon as he closes it. He makes an attempt to attack Richie, but he flees the room. Eddie once again catches Pennywise's attention, but Bill and Richie intervene to stop the clown from eating him. Then Beverly appears, forcing Pennywise to flee by sticking a spear through his head. After seeing Eddie's injured arm, Eddie's mother prevents the losers from hanging out with him. As Richie claims that their pursuit of Georgie has almost ended them, Bill and Richie start fighting. The other males are too afraid to continue, so the losers split apart. August has come and gone, and the youngsters are still going about their daily lives. As Eddie goes to pick up his asthma medication from the pharmacy, Greta, who works behind the counter, informs him that they are placebos. Afterwards, she adds the word loser on his arm cast. Using his father's gun, Henry is shooting stuff with Vic and Belch. Officer Bowers arrives to remove the rifle from Henry after he commands Belch to bring him a cat to shoot. Next, to humiliate Henry in front of his friends and reveal him as a coward, he shoots the ground around his feet. Henry discovers a red balloon on his mailbox later. A knife that it sent is within. As his father is sleeping and the TV is on, he enters the house. A woman and her children can be seen on the television, all pleading with Henry to murder his father. He does this by stabbing him in the neck and allowing him to bleed out. The children on TV then begin shouting, "We are all victims of it. Destroy them all. Destroy them all." Beverly's father makes an attempt to fulfill his passion for his daughter at the Marsh residence. She pushes him away and dashes to the restroom. Bev hits Mr. Marsh in the face with a toilet lid when he arrives and ends him. Pennywise discovers her as she is preparing to leave and snatches her. When Bill visits Bev's home, he discovers her father's body in the toilet, with the words, "You'll perish if you try," scribbled in blood on the wall. He goes to make peace with his friends to save Bev, after realizing she has been abducted by it. When they first obtain Eddie, his mother restricts him from going and hanging out with his friends, but when he confronts her about the placebos, she is defied. She is abandoned when he joins his friends. The guys visit the Neibolt residence, where they discover it living in a well. They descend a rope, but Mike is attacked by Henry before he can get down. To stop the lads from returning to the top, he begins to pull the rope up. Mike fights off Henry's attempt with the nail gun he brought, and then manages to hurl Henry over the well, whereupon he appears to have perished. Stan gets assaulted by it, while posing as the woman from the picture as he descends farther into the well. She starts to eat his head, but the lads frighten it off and comfort a humiliated Stan. The lads all move deeper into the well, where they come to its hideout. In some sort of stupor, all the kids he's stolen are floating up in the pitch black. Bev is found floating by the lads. When they lower her, Ben kisses her to awaken her from the dream. Then, Georgie appears from the shadows for Bill to see. Georgie informs Bill that he had been looking forward to his arrival and had missed him. Bill shoots his brother in the head after giving him a hug, but realizing it's not Georgie. His body rolls around on the ground till it resembles Pennywise. The kids battle against the clown's attempts to murder them, until he gets Bill under his control. The others are given the choice to pass away together, or leave Pennywise alone with Bill. Richie is the first to strike back when Bill orders them to flee. As the children no longer fear Pennywise, they begin to beat him mercilessly until he is helpless and unable to harm them. Pennywise flees into the shadows and escapes, before Bill can deliver the final blow to the clown's crumbling head. The kidnapped kids then start to drift down. Then Bill discovers Georgie's raincoat. He acknowledges that Georgie has genuinely vanished. Bill sobs inconsolably as his buddies huddle up to him and give him hugs. It is currently September. If Pennywise ever makes a comeback, the losers vow an oath to return to Derry in 27 years. They chat for a bit, before gradually departing one by one, leaving only Bill and Bev remaining. She will now move to Portland. Bill approaches her and kisses her as she leaves.